If you think that you have a business, marketing, or a revenue problem, then you're missing the point. What you do actually have is a fixed mindset, and guess what? This is invisible, and it controls every single decision that you make, every risk you avoid, and every opportunity that you miss. If you don't identify how your fixed mindset is affecting your business, you'll keep grinding away, burning out, having those dead-end conversations with ChatGPT, trying to escape the struggle that's programmed inside of you to keep you stuck. In the 1980s, a Stanford University psychologist, Carol Dweck, set out to understand why some people really crush it in business under pressure whilst others crumble under the exact same conditions. And what she discovered changed the entire field of psychology, and it's directly relevant to every entrepreneur watching this video right now. Dweck found that people operate from one of two core belief systems. The first is a fixed mindset, and it's the idea that your intelligence, talents, and abilities are set in stone, and you either have it or you don't. The second is a growth mindset. It's the belief that your abilities can be developed over time, and that failure is simply feedback, and those challenges are actually opportunities for you to grow and not stumbling blocks. Now, here's what really made her finding so powerful. In her research, she found that people with a fixed mindset were not necessarily less talented or intelligent. In many cases, they're actually more gifted, but when things got hard, they stopped. They overanalyzed and opted to play it safe. And over time, what happened is that their income began to plateau. And they found that this cycle continued over and over again. Maybe you can relate. The group of people with that growth mindset did something completely different. They treated difficulty as an opportunity to adapt, learn, and go all in with a fuck you attitude. And guess what? They consistently outperformed the circumstances that they were facing. Now, here's the part that no one talks about. The wildest thing that Dweck uncovered was not about the people who obviously had a fixed mindset. Those people who actually believed that they had a growth mindset, in fact, their actual actions, behaviors, and thought processes told a complete different story. And in my experience, working with entrepreneurs from all around the world, the gap between what most people believe about their mindset and how it actually operates is worlds apart. And that's where most income ceilings have developed and are hiding. I'm Mindy, founder and CEO of Mind, Money and Business. I spent years helping business owners all around the world in over 87 different industries to grow and scale their businesses to 6, 7, and 8 figures by addressing the deep psychological patterns that strategy alone won't fix. In this video, I'm going to break down the real difference between a growth mindset and a fixed mindset, and why most high-performing entrepreneurs have more of a fixed mindset problems running than they actually realize. These exact shifts, I'll show you how to permanently change how you think, how you make decisions, and how you scale your business. So let me give you 3 examples of what a growth mindset versus a fixed mindset actually looks like in real life, and how you can learn to lean more towards the growth mindset. The first example, that you may have a fixed mindset, and this is something that nobody wants to admit. Complaining constantly and not taking any action. And a lot of the time we're all guilty of this, right? So think about how many times you've actually complained about a situation. Maybe right now you're facing something inside of your business, your finances, that you find yourself constantly complaining about. You're having lots of different conversations with people about all the stuff that's going wrong. But you won't sit down and strategize and think about, hey, listen, how can I actually stop complaining about this and actually start taking action? I remember one of my clients some time ago was not making any sales. And I said, hey, listen, what are you actually doing to actually make more sales? She goes, well, what do you mean? I said, well, how many conversations are you having on a day-to-day basis with prospects? She said, well, I'm not. I said, well, how many leads do you have in your pipeline? She goes, we've got about 300-400. I said, so what are you doing with those? She goes, nothing. I said, so you've got all this untapped opportunity there, but you're not tapping into it. And you know what her answer was? I've never really thought about that, Mindy. I'm like, hang on a minute. Your biggest problem right now is sales, and you're not doing anything to get more sales in. You're not doing anything to get more revenue into your business, but you're constantly focusing on not making sales. I said, there's a law of cause and effect, action, reaction. Think about it. If you're not taking an action, how can you expect a reaction? So if you're not calling anybody, how do you expect to make sales, right? So you've got a list of I've got a whole list of things I need to do, but I'm not doing them. So complaining constantly over and over again and not taking action is a major cause of failure. And this is one of the main signs that you need to look out for. So I want you to identify right now, what are you not doing that you know you should be doing? What are you complaining about? What's that most dominant thought that you find yourself having? Is it about lack of sales, lack of finances? In fact, look at your bank balance and say, well, hang on a minute, why is my bank balance this way? A lot of people want to complain but do nothing about it. So don't get caught up in that trap. It's a cycle that keeps on going on and on and on and on, but you got to break that cycle. So that's actually a form of procrastination, right? Because you're not actually taking any action. You're not actually owning it. You're not taking responsibility. So you've got to start to learn to take responsibility and stop complaining, because when you complain, guess what you do? You just add more energy to what you're complaining about, and it just expands and it grows. You've heard the phrase, wherever your focus goes, energy expands and it just gets bigger and bigger. So stop complaining and start taking action. And you'll find that as you start taking action, your results will start to improve and you start feeling better about yourself. And guess what? When you feel better, you feel like taking more action because it puts you in a high vibration. If this is already starting to connect the dots for you, I've created something completely free. It's called the Money Audit. This is where we're going to take a deep dive into how to switch from that fixed mindset to that growth mindset. And this includes a 3-step process that you can start taking action on right now to improve and empower yourself to make these meaningful changes so you can actually start to earn more whilst working less. It's completely free, so make sure you grab it by hitting the link in the description below. The second example, let's call this obstacle versus opportunity. I was speaking to somebody this week. It was about recruiting a new member of staff, and this person was really struggling inside their business. They were like, I've got so much stuff going on in my personal life, I've got my home life, got my family to look after, and I've got all of these tasks inside of my business that need doing, and I just haven't got enough time. And I dropped the ball this week and it nearly cost me a lot of money. So my natural response was, well, why don't you recruit another member of staff to help take some of the pressure off you inside of your business? And the response I got was amazing. I've made a couple of hires in the past, they didn't work out. A couple of years ago, I hired for this role, it didn't work out. Okay, cool. So I want you to think about it. What kind of a mindset does this person have? Do they have a fixed mindset or a growth mindset? So I said, right now, you're not making a decision to hire someone because you made a decision like a couple of years ago, you hired someone and it was a wrong hire. And her response was yes. And it was kind of interesting because something that happened to someone 2 years ago is still holding them back today in order for them to take action. And I said, listen, this is a bottleneck in your business. You've got this big juicy goal over here, which you want to go towards. Now, until you fix this hiring problem, guess what? You're going to be constantly faced with all the stuff that's going on at home. You're not going to have enough time to do the activities within your business to get you to where you want to get to. So this is actually costing you opportunity, right? So I said, well, why don't you just change your mindset around that? Why don't you think well, what can I actually learn from those 2 bad hires that I made? So I'd be looking for the opportunity within that thing that happened there. So find out, why did this role not work out? What were the 2 reasons that these 2 past employees did not work out for? Write them down and say, when I hire for the next person, I'm going to make sure that they don't have these 2 issues that these 2 people had. We kind of put this fear into place where, you know what, the next hire that I make is going to be a bad one just because you had some bad hires. I always look for learnings in every single downfall. I don't see things as a mistake. I always say, well, what can I learn from this and lean into this? I remember my mentor, Bob Proctor, he says to me, every mistake, every challenge that we have, there's a lesson in there, there's a learning. If you don't learn that lesson, guess what? You're gonna have to relearn it next time. So learn your lessons fast, apply what you've learned into your next hire. And it's simple. And so hopefully this person's gonna take on my feedback. So what sort of person was this? Did this person have a growth mindset or a fixed mindset? Pretty obvious, right? The last example, let's call this the money pit. So you're running your business and all your costs have gone up. Your rent's gone up, your bills have gone up, your staffing costs have gone up, wages have gone up, and the cost of operating your business has gone up. And yet, it's been 2 years since costs have been rising and you're still afraid to increase your prices because my clients might leave me, my customers might go, they'll go somewhere else. But guess what? The only place you'll be going is out of business if you don't increase your prices. So why would we have this fear about increasing our prices when everything has gone up? So what happens is, guess what? You earn less and less and less every single year that you don't put your price up. A lot of people will go out of business because they're so afraid to put up their costs. And this affects you in many different areas. Guess what? You don't future-proof your business because you're so worried about today. If you don't have enough cash flow coming in, you won't be able to sustain your business because all these costs are going to rise. Your income comes down, your sales come down, and you've got to have it the other way around. So your cost has got to be lower than what you bring in. That's the art of business, not the other way around. So I want you to really identify right now, have you had price increases? Have you actually counted those price increases with your own price increases? So you should always be putting your price up. I recently just increased our prices by 50%, not because my costs were going up, because my value's going up. So really think about how much value are you actually putting into the marketplace. A lot of people make a big mistake because they're actually selling on price, not by value. So really think about the value that you're actually giving your customers, your clients. So don't make that mistake of allowing your fixed mindset to destroy your business, because it will, because you need cash flow, you need money coming in so you can pay all your overheads to have sustainability, or otherwise, guess what? You'll be going out of business so fast. Think about how many times have you had price increases and you haven't even mirrored them into your prices. Here's a little bit of an exercise for you. Go check out your prices, right? How much your cost of operation has gone up over the 12 months. Then ask yourself, have I actually counted this cost of increase into my business, into my profitability? If you haven't, guess what? You're actually making less money today than you were a year ago. That's not the art of business, is it? The art of business is to actually make more money than your costs. Now think about this, fixed mindset versus growth mindset. One costs you and the other one makes you money. So let's bring this into full circle. Overall, most entrepreneurs truly believe that they have a growth mindset. That belief is precisely what's stopping them from examining the fixed mindset problems that are quietly running their decisions, their pricing, their risk tolerance, their financial ceiling, and how they actually operate. So think about it. When was the last time you actually had a price increase? Carol Dweck spent decades proving that the mindset that you operate from isn't permanent and it can be changed, but it has to be changed at that root cause, at the level where your inner identity is resident, at that deep subconscious belief, not just from temporary motivation. And that's what will change everything for you, and you can start doing that right now. So now that you know the difference between a growth mindset and a fixed mindset, and how that fixed mindset really holds you back, now's the time to take action. So if you're ready to stop complaining and finally say enough is enough and actually change your life, your finances, then you're going to love this next video. And what you'll learn in this next video is why people actually have a fixed mindset to begin with, why fear and comfort keep you trapped, and what it really takes to start taking action and create the life that you truly deserve. So click on the video right here and take that first step. I'll see you on the inside.